Hello, hello, hello. So I'm just finishing off a little bit of time on the Flaming Star Nebula here. This is it live stacked, just got 8 in here, which a lot of structure there. Right, that's the sequence finished. I'm hoping I can get go for 10 on that HA. Salute to target, center target, autofocus. Let's go. I'm just going to position to the Horsehead now. Hopefully we haven't got those trees in the way. There it is. What I'm going to do is start a new live stack. Where am I saving these images? In here. Just going to set this live stack up. Hello to my regular viewers of John and Don. Cloudy here, but it's supposed to be clear at 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's looking... This is what it looks like for me. I'm around here. So, clearish. There's some wispy clouds coming in 10, 11 o'clock-ish. I think it should be okay for a good few hours yet. This is what we're going to be live stacking. I took one image the other night just as I was packing up, just to sort of see the data I get in HA. So, yeah, really nice. Subject to image. It's obviously of something that's imaged quite a lot. And whilst we've been waiting, I've been imaging the flaming star till I can get the nebula, because it's blocked by some trees till about nowish. So this is the stack of the flaming star. I'm just doing it as a filler. So we're just starting the first of the 10-minute exposures. It's doing an autofocus. Move that out of the way. We're an hour and 30 minutes to the Meridian. So I should be able to get about 9 images in before we have to flip. that bright light in my garden looks very bright, but it's actually well, they're not my next door neighbours, they're the garden in front of us to the left. They've just got a porch light on, but it looks very, very bright, but it's actually not. This autofocus should finish very soon, hopefully. Just going to check. And the moon doesn't rise tonight until, well, it starts to rise in 10 minutes. So it's getting later each night. So always a bonus. Hello, CD2000. Thank you. I'm in Bottle 4, which is reasonably dark. It's certainly a lot. I'd prefer to be Bottle 4 than sat in a city. So yeah, I'm quite lucky to have a Bottle 4 in my back garden. I live in a small village just in the north of York in the UK. So I'm far enough away from York to be not affected by the glow of the York city centre. And the sub, that's a 10-minute exposure. And what I've been doing earlier, this is a stack of 9 10-minute exposures as well on the Flaming Star, just in HA. I started doing this just as a filler for waiting for Orion and the Horsehead over the last few nights, so just picked something random. Never really imaged. I've not imaged the Flaming Star before, so whilst I can, I'll just fill in my time with that. But we're now into the Horsehead, so yeah, it's starting first exposure, 600 seconds. Whilst we do that, let's bring the Flaming Star back on. If someone joins, they'll think, well, that looks rubbish. That was my last image of the Flaming Star. It's yeah, really nice. I think there's a lot of data in there. I've not processed the images I took of Orion the other night. I just haven't had a chance. I might try and do them this weekend, but I do want to reprocess my Rosette image as well. I'm going to have a backlog of images to process soon, which is unheard of. So yeah, thanks for joining. This says partly sunny down here. That cannot be right. Yeah, it's 2 degrees at the moment, going to a low of -1. Oh, no, -2. Still says it's partly sunny, which is wrong. Lightning's creeping up. Still cloudy in Glasgow. I think I'll take out a look at the front door. Well, I use apps, but I do find that the UK Met Office cloud cover thing is fairly accurate. So yeah, looks like Glasgow. You've got quite a bit of cloud cover. Unfortunately, it looks like most of the night. Down in here, this is where I live. This is all of North Yorkshire here. It's North Yorkshire Moors. I'm live about here. So yeah, I'll take any clear night I can get. We have had a great start to 2022 with the clear nights. I think I said that the other night. February's always rubbish based on previous years, so and then we start to get into the lighter nights. Yeah, 70% cloudy. That's what it's sort of looking like on the Met Office. Go back to like now. Yeah, it doesn't look as though you're in for a good night, unfortunately. So I'll just wait for this first sub to come in of the Horsehead, and then I'll start the live stacking going on top of that image I took the other night. Hi, Logan's Astrophotography. Sunny, too sunny here in NZ, so you're in New Zealand. What time is it in New Zealand? Is it like early morning? Saturday. 9:16 a.m. in New Zealand. Well, good morning to you. Not a place I visited. I'd love to go to New Zealand, to be honest. Don't fancy the travel, though. Not a good traveller, but certainly one of the countries I would certainly like to visit. I'm probably never going to get there. I have a work colleague whose parents live, I don't know if they live on the South Island or the North Island, I can't remember, but he goes out there a couple of times a year to see them. Hopefully we'll be running error-free tonight. I've got rid of my dust bunnies and the strange eyelash that was in my previous subs the other night down here, so that was bugging me for a while. My guiding's not the best, and I don't know why. Back end of last year, I was getting around 0.5 every night, all night. I can only think it's either the scene conditions or because I'm pointing fairly low on the southern horizon for me. The lower I go, the poorer the guiding. Now, it looks like my next door neighbour has turned the light off in their back garden. That cable looks very close to that camera. I might have to go check that. So my camera monitoring my rig looks very close. So yeah, guiding is. You literally will not change anything, and one night it'll be absolutely perfect, and the next night it'll be poor. But as I said in the other videos, as long as the stars are round in the corner, don't go chasing those numbers. We've got about 2 minutes to go on this first sub. We'll see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm quite fortunate in that in my back garden, no one actually overlooks us, and those trees that you can see on the left-hand side are in between us and the next door neighbour. It's technically not a next door neighbour, she actually lives on a different street, but it's where my garden backs onto their garden. They have a dog, and they lay it out on a night, and stuff just have a toilet break, and the security light comes on. But usually, because they're quite elderly, they'll be in bed for 10 o'clock. And that's it. No one else will be shining any lights into my garden other than me. So getting quite lucky. So 60 seconds away from this first sub coming in on the Horsehead. This is what the live stack currently looks like with just one image in it. In HA. Use that folder when this finishes. Close that. I'm new to all this and under a 7 and 8 sky. I need a decent run of clear nights to get set up. The SIR Plus I've recently purchased appears to have the worse Wi-Fi than the Pro. Yeah, I have seen some other people complaining that the Plus is actually, even though it's meant to have a much better antenna, is because it's got an external antenna and the Pro doesn't, unless you modify it. So yeah, it's a little bit odd. I don't know if it's caused by a software update. Now we're inverted. But so there's the first image coming in. Now dithering. So what I'm going to do is in here I just need to change the folder because this is a different night. This is this night that's just come in. This is this image. It should. And don't worry, you'll notice that the image I've just taken is upside down. So the live stacking will just basically look at the stars and align stars. It'll appear the correct way. Hopefully, it doesn't think that that's the other way. Is the way it's going to show us in here. But we'll see in a second. Literally, there we go. So that's two images in the stack now. It probably just takes the orientation of the first image. Ah, hello, Andre. You're sitting on the farm. Came out to test your 120mm Mac. Wind howling, no luck tonight from South Africa. Well, hello from South Africa. Wind howling, yeah, 190mm Mac as well. That will be like a sail in the wind. That would catch a lot of the wind with its large tube size. I've just got a Plus, haven't used it yet. I heard something in the ASI to put out. Yeah, it does appear that the last update has been bug-ridden to hell, which is... I used to have an ASIO I've mentioned before, but I still follow and I know some guys who use the Air, and I'm still on the Facebook groups, and I've been monitoring the threads, and yeah, there does appear to be some issue with the last update. Some people are saying it's fine, there's a lot more people are saying it's not very good. I'm sure they'll fix it. It's in their own interest to fix it, so whether that'll fix the Wi-Fi issues or not, I don't know. You just had a small extender to your Plus, now much better. Yeah, it was great before the recent update, but then downhill. Yeah, I saw a lot of people using the extenders on the old Pros and the first gen ones. I think ZWA even started selling their own extender, which was just a rebadged. They sold it for a lot more expensive than what the actual original vendor of the extender was, which you get on Amazon for quite a significant less amount of money. HPR 3.22, hiding just over 1. I'm not going to chase it. Let me just zoom into these stars and have a look down in here. these stars are round. If there's anything I've learned is don't go chasing your guiding numbers. They'll drive you mad if you. It's very difficult though to. If this starts to go up to like 1.5 and up to 2, I would take some intervention. But hovering around this, I'm okay. I'm just intrigued to know why, for the last 2 weeks, I've had very poor guiding compared to what I normally get, and it's always been when I'm live streaming. Hello, OxyZ. So yes, I have. I used to have an AZ GTI. I sold it probably 10, 12 months ago now. I bought the really nice William Optics metal base for it because it was the one that comes with the Star Adventurer type base. The AZ GTI one is a little bit flimsy, so I bought a nice William Optics base for it, and I did try guiding with it, and it was okay as a portable. Throw in your bag, go out somewhere, even if that go out's in your back garden. It was yeah, a really good entry level EQ mount. Don't get me wrong, when the slewing starts, very slow slewing, but that's not an issue. You can sort of tell the motors. I took mine apart and adjusted the backlash, and it was better. But at one point, I did have a load of bits on the floor, thinking, "Oh God, I wish I'd never started this." But yeah, great little portable mount, absolutely great. As long as you don't overload them, like it can be easily. Even though I think it's got a 5 kilogram load capacity, I wouldn't push it too far close to that. It seems to struggle the heavier the payload. But yeah, it's a great little mount, and fantastic that Skywatcher put the EQ the equatorial firmware out for it, so you could use it as a EQ mount. Can you put a 72 ED on it? I honestly don't know. Uh, let's have a look. Initially, I'm going to say yes because that's what it's 2 kilograms, a 72 ED. Stick a camera on there, maybe three, probably less. Guide scope. I would say you're going to be, depending on what your other kit is, 3.5 kilograms. I reckon you'll be fine. Just make sure you balanced it. So you might need to buy another counterweight for the other side. So I ended up buying a Borg counterweight and a shaft for it because the one that well, they don't provide one, but I was using the one off the Star Adventurer. So balancing is key. I've just bought a 20 meter Ethernet cable. I'll try when the cloud's clear. Well, yeah, that is another option. I've been known to run Ethernet cables before I cabled my house up around various things. Not for astrophotography, but for other things. It will work. It will be absolutely fine. Yeah, I saw that, John. I'm not sure it's a go to mount though. Was that the leaked images? I can't remember where I saw them. I did see a new Skywatcher GTI mount. Let me have a quick look for it. Otherwise, I'm going to get probably hit with. But I can't find it whilst we're looking for it. I'm pretty sure it's not officially announced yet. No, I'm not seeing it. I did see the leaked image of it, but what I read was it isn't a go-to mount. I might be wrong. Yeah, I suppose the thing is, Oxy, is that the tripod payload capacity is fine. If your tripod can take 25 kilograms, then obviously the GTI can't take 25 kilograms, but it'll certainly help. I actually bought a Skywatcher tripod, not the black flimsy one for the GTI, but there's a steel tubed one, which I'll show you what that one is actually. Uh, this thing was rock solid. So this thing here, you can put on a AZGTI onto one of these. It's expensive, but it's absolutely great. It's basically the same as what you get with an EQ5, I believe. And you see down here it says works with an AZGTI. That thing is, when I had mine, was great. So yeah, Logan. So yeah, these are the 3 nanometer Antlia filters. So I've not seen any halo so far in the O3 channel for the targets I've taken. So I've been really, really impressed with that. Compared to what I used to get with my L Extreme or my one shot color, it's night and day difference. Oh right, it is a go to mount. Accepting orders. Okay, let me go. Have you got? Oh, I don't know if you can post a link. It's on the Telescope Services site. I don't know what that is. You mean this? Is it? No, I'm going to guess that's not what that is. If you can send us a link, John, I'll have a look. So we've got another image just dropped. So we've now got three. It's just adding in this third HA. Noise evaluation because it'll tell me how much better it was. So right now it's saying it's 46% better than when we started. The noise on the overall image. So yeah, it's looking nice. Yeah, I just unfortunately, obviously, you probably know they're quite expensive, so I haven't got the LRGB set yet. So I do need to get those before Galaxy season starts. But yeah, super impressed with them for what I've used them for so far. Yes, I'm using Nina Oxy Z. I'm an absolute Nina convert. Do you know what the name of this new Skywatcher mount is, John? If you can just put the name of the mount in, I'll just do a search for that. I am looking for another portable setup. Um, I think I mentioned previously I used to have a Star Adventurer, and yeah, liked it. And then I got the AZ GTI as my portable one, and I've sold that. So I'm just currently left with my CGX and my AZ EQ6. I was browsing mounts the other night though. I have a habit of looking at things before I go to bed. Yeah, I think if you put a link in the chat, it goes to spam. If you just put the name of it in, please, and I'll have a look. Yeah, because the old Star Adventurers and these GTIs were, I think, 5 kilograms max, and that's pushing it a little bit, I think. I'll have a quick look. Our Adventurer G. It's our Adventure. Oh, that's filled in. It's our Adventure GTI. Is what I remember the name to be, was it? Yeah. Try not images. Problem is that they've got two things with the same. Oh, I can't find it. I'll have a look later on. Telescope services site. Still can't see it. My Google skills are garbage tonight. I just can't see it. You've got the two. I'll go back to this. I'll have a look later on. But thank you. If it's a go-to mount, that'll be fairly interesting. Because I think that's a lot of frustrations for beginners when they get a Star Adventurer is finding stuff in the night sky. Once you start to learn how to star hop and various get laser dot finders and things, you can generally find your way around. But I know when I was starting off with my adventurer, I was trying to find Andromeda for about an hour. I just couldn't find it. And because I was at 600mm with my Canon DSLR and the Sigma lens, just moving a few millimeters left or right, we were moving tens and twenties of degrees in the night sky. So yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I think as well they've got another mount that hasn't made the light of day yet, which is this one. This got circulated by accident. In a magazine. So this looks very much like an Ioptron CEM mount. This hasn't seen the light of day either, so I suspect if everything calms down with COVID, we might see this mount as well this year. And this does look quite nice as well. Obviously not portable, but I think this is going to be positioned at higher than the EQ6 range, but less than the EQ8 range, I guess. We'll have to see. Is my audio okay as well? Because I've never checked if I'm sounding tinny or whether I'm sounding normal. Because one of my broadcasts, I ended up coming out through my webcam audio, as in my mic on my webcam picked me up rather than this thing. And Celestron have been very quiet as well. Um, I know with the whole COVID thing, but no new telescopes announced, no new mounts announced, no new accessories announced. I'll have to see what they come out with. Tell you one thing, I've got an AZEQ6 and it's got a lot of stiction, so it's really difficult to balance. I mean, it tracks absolutely great once you've got it out there. There's no issue, but when you move the RA and the deck around when you're balancing it, it literally, I could have a 2 kilograms of sugar at one end and it wouldn't move. And the clutches are fully, and I'm not mechanical enough to strip it down and re-grease it, and I'm refusing to send it off to a certain company in the UK who tune mounts because I had a bad experience with them previously. But what I noticed on the Ioptron CM range, whenever you watch any of the reviews, it's so silky smooth when they unlock the clutches on the RA. I was watching a review of a CM70 a couple of nights ago, and it was like, wow, that looks incredible. Absolutely phenomenal for balancing. Yeah, they've got some oddities with the way their clutches work. I know you can basically damage your mount if you do something inadvertently, if you've got the clutch locked in, and you. So yeah, that's one of those things. Once you get used to what that is and how to not do it, I'm sure you'll be fine. I think Joe's Astrophotography today, his YouTube channel, he's just literally unboxed a CEM 120, which is a phenomenally expensive mount and a huge mount as well. Looks an absolute beast. I quite like the Ioptrons as well. They have the Nook mounting plate option, so you probably remember I use an Intel Nook outside. So they've got a Nook mounting plate right next to where the USB and the power ports are on the R8 on the deck head. Literally, there's a 50 centimeter cable that goes between one to the other. So I really like that as well. It's just those little touches that can sway your purchasing decision. So we have another image coming in. There it is. It's picked it up. There we go. We've got 4 images. So that's 40 minutes of integration time. Improvement is now 65%. I'm liking the look of this structure on the outside here. Obviously, you've got I think there'll be a lot of data here. It's whether I'm going to get enough time over the next couple of weeks before this becomes not imageable for me to get some O3 and S2 as well. Hello, NXU. Clear skies all. Thank you for session. No, thank you for joining. I do appreciate everybody who's taken time out to watch a Yorkshireman basically sit at his computer and take some images. I'm sure you've probably got better things to do, but I do appreciate it. I really do. Quite cloudy in Aylesbury. Ah, the Aylesbury duck. A nice part of the world down in Buckinghamshire. My favourite band comes from Aylesbury as well, so I've been down there a few times. I've seen them once in Aylesbury. Spent a night there. I do quite like the Buckinghamshire countryside. It's a very nice part of the world. Looking at chip temperature just fluctuating between 9.9 and -10. We're okay. That guiding just staying at around 1. So, yeah, quick question to the 6 people in there: what if you're using a PC and not an ASI Air? What imaging tool do you use? So the choices are APT, SGP, Maxim DL, or Nina. Changing guitar strings while you watch. Is that bass or 6-string electric guitar or acoustic? I used to play guitar. Not very well. Sold up my stuff a long time ago. I used to have a really cheap Ibanez RG350, I think it was, and some Line 6 amps. So 2 for Nina. Yeah, I think Nina's going to take over this. Funny, Chuck and Trevor. Chuck joined the other night, and I was trying to convince him to switch to Nina, but it is one of those things when you've used something for 3 or 4 years, it's very difficult and I suppose nervous to move away to something that you've got to relearn. APT for you at the moment? Yeah, I used to use APT a lot. Backyard EOS, obviously that's the first tool I ever used with Backyard EOS. I've still got a license for it that I bought. So I remember watching a video on YouTube about it was about an hour presentation, I think it was. I was like, wow, this is absolutely phenomenal. I can do all this from my computer. And yeah, that's what I originally started off with Backyard EOS. A Telecaster Electric, very nice. I always wanted a Strat, but like a Mexican 70 Strat, but never splashed the money. I could have probably bought some horrendously expensive Gibson with the amount of money spent on this equipment. Yeah, I had a couple of Ibanez. One was a gloss black one, and one was like a matte wood black one. And a Line 6 effects pedal and a Line 6 amp. We're talking about electric guitars now. Back to astrophotography. How are you finding APT NXU? I know he's had a couple of issues with the releases recently. I saw on the APT forum there was like a 3.91 and then there was a 3.92.1 came out. And there was some auto focusing issues. I think he's fixed them now though, but was a very good developer, the guy who wrote APT. I used it for about 16, 18 months. Okay, well, good luck, John. I hope you, whatever target you're going to go for, it stays clear for you. So good luck. Let me know. Or let us know how you're getting on. So we're 200 seconds away. Sharp cap. Yeah, Sharp cap's got its place. So I use Sharp cap for polar alignment and polar alignment and polar alignment. Sharp cap's very good for doing some live stacking or within itself. So if you've obviously not got Pix Insight, then you can do some live stacking. My good friend Luca Matico, he's been using it recently to stack some planetary nebula. The results were great. It's obviously used quite heavily by planetary imaging. Yeah, another great piece of software. We're so lucky to have such a choice of software available to us, I think. Yeah, APT it is the thing I moved from Backyard EOS to APT when I got a cooled color camera, and then went on to SGP because APT didn't have autofocus at the time, and then from SGP to Nina. Apologies if anybody's in the previous streams have heard all this before, but that's how I've ended up at Nina. So anybody just joined, we have a live stack of the Horsehead going on. So we've got literally 40 minutes of subs stacked in Easy Live Stack in PixInsight. That's what it's currently looking like. And we are 100 seconds away from our 5th image. I was hoping it was going to be clear tomorrow night, but it looks like it's going to be clear till about 9ish. Might be able to get some more on the Flaming Star. Absolutely, NXU. It is. Can I self promote myself and point you to my ASCOM videos that are on my channel? So that's literally taking from the beginning, setting up some astrophotography common pieces of software and explaining about ASCOM and how ASCOM works. So yeah, it probably doesn't help as well for anybody who's not computer literate. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but I mean anybody who's not used to computers as well. It probably is another hurdle to get over of using and setting up things like drivers. Most people just want to plug something in and it work, but you know, we all know we've got to install drivers for cameras, drivers for filter wheels, ASCOM this, native driver that. So yeah, it can be quite a daunting step, but it's one of those things. Once you've got things running and you're happy that what you've got is fine, then I think you find a lot of people won't upgrade things, so they won't upgrade to the later driver. Changing like our APT and Nina to the latest version is far less risky, but fiddling around with drivers. I basically have 2 rigs, and what I do is I'd load any new releases like drivers onto the second rig and just test it out on there first. Just pointing at my ceiling, just making sure that imaging still works. You know, obviously, there's certain things you can't test out, but before I then move it onto my primary rig. The last thing I want to do is set something up which takes me about 30 minutes, start imaging and start having a night of problems. So I just play it safe. So we just had another image finish. So in this live stack, I can hear my NAS in the background where the file's being copied to, and this live stack's literally looking at the files on the NAS where it's dropping the files. There it is, it's just found it. So we've got 50 minutes. It's not accessing the image yet. Yep, so it thinks we're 82% better. Must look up at what these mean. So we've got 5 images in the stack now. Let's go and have a look at some of this detail. Yeah, this should be nice. I really like this. I don't know why my eyes are attracted to this area here. These clouds of dust and whatever this is. Yeah, looking good. I was looking at the time. It's my weather forecast is updated to mostly cloudy. Let me check. I think that's lying. That very cloudy, so it's still showing as clear up to 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock, some light mist. NXU, you switched to your telly so my family could see what this was all about. The stack is fantastic. No, thank you. No, thank you. It's comments like that that make this worthwhile. As I've said before, I can sit and talk about this sort of stuff all day, every day to anybody. I really could. So thank you for those kind comments. Can I ask, did they ask why it's in black and white and not colour? Because that's usually what I get as from a beginner. I'm not saying you're a beginner, but what I mean is when people see this image, they'll go, "Well, why is it in black and white? Why isn't it in colour?" And sort of have to explain that when you're doing mono imaging, you're getting more data, more photons captured, but you have to capture them in multiple channels and then combine them together, obviously. So it is quite a common question as to why is it in black and white when you're mono imaging, because obviously they don't realise, they just think, oh, you're taking pictures of the night sky, it'll be nice and colourful. It's like, well, it would be if we were using a one-shot colour camera, but we're not tonight. We are 50 minutes away from a Meridian flip, which I will be going out and watching. I'm just going to go check how close that camera is to my cable, which is now right in front of it. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Yeah, that cable was right in front of the camera. It wasn't touching it, so it would have been okay. Good day, Ollie's Astro. I follow your channel regularly, so thank you. This is what the stacked image looks like. So I'm live stacking in PixInsight. We've got 5 images at the moment, and we're about halfway through the next one. So yeah, I've got high hopes if I can get enough data and enough time on the other channels. It should be a nice picture. That guiding's creeping up, but I'm okay. The stars are still round. Turning my head torch off, I have. So I've got 14 people in. That's the most I've had in. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining on a Friday, well, a cold, damp night in the UK. Oh, Visible Darks just posted a new video. We are looking at, I think, some, yeah, relative humidity is high. So it could be for a wet night. I've just literally, when I went to move the Wise camera that's pointing at the rig, it's on a Manfrotto tripod, steel, well, aluminium legs, I think they are. They were wet, so it's going to be a humid, damp night, I think. So if anybody wants to ask me any questions about my setup or anything, there's only so much interest in watching a semi-old man take pictures of the night sky. The stars are pin sharp and the detail of the dust is so nice. Is your mount tuned? No, it's not tuned. It's well, my guiding's not that good at the moment compared to what it has been in the past. So no, it's a Celestron CGX mount, the Marmite mount of astrophotography. Some people love them, some people hate them, some people have a lot of trouble with them. Touch wood, I've had mine 2 years now. I absolutely love it. Don't have any issues with it whatsoever. Apart from right now, the guiding's just jumped up to 1.16, but I'm okay. It'll settle itself back down. So no, it's not been tuned. PhD is certainly helping, but this is a QHY268M mono camera, so it's got the same sensor as the ZWO 2600 series, the IMX 571 I think it is. So it's a super sensitive CMOS sensor. Because I'm using the Antlia 3nm filters as well, they're absolutely brilliant. So that together is helping to pull out all this detail. And I'm using 10-minute exposures, so I do need to test something on that actually. I was going to do it tonight and I haven't. We're having some lucky weather here. 30 degrees and clear for the last 2 nights. What, 30 degrees? Yep. We're currently 0 degrees. So yeah, it's we've been having quite a few nice clear nights as well. Some nights have been all the way through, and some nights it's been 3 or 4 hours. I'll take any of those if I can, as long as I'm not working too early in the following morning. Did you have an EQ6 or similar at some point? Yeah, I've got an AZ EQ6 still, so that's my second scope, mount and scope. So I didn't get the EQ6R Pro, I got the AZ EQ6R. So that's just a slightly bigger brother of the EQ6. It's this one. That's my other mount. And there's a very specific reason, even though I don't use it in all as mode, why I bought it. How is live stacking in PixInsight? Just wondered how it compares to SharpCap. I can't really tell you, Ollie, because I've not done it in SharpCap myself. I know Luke has. And to be honest, I didn't even notice when I've been using the Easy Processing Suite, the live stack option, and I just stumbled across someone on a video doing it one day, and I thought, oh, I'll just have that. I'll give that a go. It'll be fairly easy to set up. But yeah, it seems to work well. I mean, there's limited options what you can tweak. You can apply max and flats on the fly, which I've done for this one. You can't really. You can do an automatic background extraction, and that's about it from what I remember. I'd have to stop the thing to show you the options, but it's one of those things. It lets me look at what potentially the signal and noise that I'm getting in the image in real time. So I've just started using it all my sessions. It's relatively straightforward for me to set up. So what's happening is this is actually an Intel NUC on my rig outside, mounted on the top dove plate. And when a file is dropped onto the folder where Nina set to store the images, I have another program that's from mine. I have quite a large NAS that picks up that file and drops it onto my NAS, and then this PixInsight here picks up that file from my NAS. And this is my actual PC that I'm streaming on. Hope that makes sense. So when you say you use it, do you mean the Easy Life Stack or do you mean the Sharp Cap, Logan? I think the Easy suite of processing tools are absolutely great. I've used the deconvolution and the denoise in them for every image. Great little set of tools. All right, okay, you use Easy Life Stack as well. Fantastic. Oh, have I missed? There's been another 6. I'm losing count. Guiding settled back down, although I'm sure there is a bug in Nina. These values don't match. It currently says 0.98. Nina said, PhD says 0.93 and 0.94. I'm sure that is a bug. And my guiding is normally a lot better than this, honest. I don't know why it's. I do need to investigate. But in fact, I don't need to investigate because my star's around. And I'm doing 10-minute exposures. I'll measure the eccentricity of them as well at some point just to make sure they're not getting artificially bloated, and I think that they're brilliant. But I'll do that offline. They're looking okay to me. Oh, you're set up on the Horsehead as well. Fantastic. Um, I can't say I have, Ollie. So there are a lot of things that I still do manually that Nina can do. So I unpark my mount, I cool my camera all down with inside Nina, but not as part of a sequence, if that makes sense. So I've literally done it manually. And I'll have used EQ mod potentially. That's what I mean for the unpark. I'll use the toolbox EQ mod option to unpark it. So um, I haven't noticed, to be honest. Good evening, Dimitri. Thank you for joining again. Another regular viewer. That's what the stacked image currently looks like. Yeah, I did notice that, Paul Charfield. There is a option to create an RGB image, but and you can map. I've never. Well, I'll probably try it offline, and maybe if I can get some other channels coming in, I might try that. It's easy enough to play with offline. You can just literally create a folder, tell it to start monitoring, and then start copying files in and watching it stack. So I don't actually need to be out in the garden doing this to test that. So I will check that out later. I did notice it when I first started using it, but I didn't put any time into working it out to make it work. But thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this sequence. I'm just going to round this up to 2 hours. So I did think it was going to start to cloud over at 9 o'clock-ish, which is what time it is now. Guiding's going up. But I think we're going to be okay based on... Still, and me, still showing clear. No surprises tonight, no, Dimitri, not at all. I have been live stacking the flaming star, which I'm using as a filler up until the Horsehead is visible out my back garden. So this is a stack of 9 10-minute exposures on the flaming star that I mentioned earlier. I wasn't really planning to take this, but over the last 2 or 3 nights when I've been out imaging, I've just been using this as the stopgap until the ultimately the Rosette, which I've been imaging, then the Orion Nebula, then the Horsehead Nebula. So I'm quite looking forward to getting more data on this, actually. It's something I've not imaged before, but is that a pole? Who's got the best rugby union team? Is that another contentious question to ask? So we have what? Meridian flip check time, 30 minutes. You're right, Dimitri, it certainly does. Bottle 4 does help. Yes, the All Blacks are. I'm not a massive rugby union fan, but I followed it in when Jonah Lomu was an absolute tank monster, destroyed our wing backs in a very famous game where he literally just careered into the guy and stamped over him and carried on as if he wasn't there. Phenomenal team. So yeah, very much. In fact, we've got another nation. There was a South African guy in here earlier, so we've got some mighty rugby union nations watching: Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and of course the best, England. In oh, got Aussie rules. Yeah, that does look very odd. Sleeveless tops as well. That's not a good look, my friend, either. And from what I've seen of Aussie rules, it's literally well, it should be called Aussie no rules. It just looks to be the people are making it up as they go along. Kick it, pick it up, run with it. Strange goals. I need to calm back down. Time for a drink of Red Bull. This video is sponsored by Red Bull. It's not. It's not a lie. Ooh. Okay, I've just spotted the sequence has stopped, and that's because I told it to stop. It's going to let me. I just want to add 2 on there. Or save it refocusing. Oh, there we go. It's focusing anyway because I told it to focus after 60 minutes, which is what it's just hit. So I've achieved nothing there. Other than we have another stacked image in, so we now have 7. Sleeveless shirts. Oh, they just look wrong. I'm going to have to disagree with you. The sleeveless shirts. They do plain sleeveless shirts, don't they? I'm thinking of the right sport. Just looks a little bit odd. Because antlia filters are the best. They are. I'm really impressed with them. So I'm hoping to get the LRGB set as well soon. I think there's a guy in the UK doing a review of them. I saw him post on YouTube in the comments, not in my comments, but I'm sure, I can't remember his name. It's the guy who just got a EQ8 mount. I want to say Astro Exploring, but it isn't him. But yeah, he's doing a review of them soon. So I just need them to come in stock. Oh, sorry, you are agreeing. Sorry, I've got you now. Yeah, it's definitely not a good look. I get you. Apologies, I'm being stupid. So we have an autofocus run now. Anybody who's not familiar with this, what's happening here is I have Nina set to say every 60 minutes or every 10% of HFR change or every filter change or every 5 degrees of temperature change to do an autofocus. So what it's done is my focus has extended the draw tube out, it's taken an image, it's measured the HFR, which is 10, which will be horrendous to look at, very blurry, and then it's pulling the focus tube back in, taking another image, and it's basically trying to work out, using a hyperbolic curve, what the ultimate focus position is in the critical focus zone. So right now, I can tell you now, it's going to start going up this way, and the green point is where it thinks the best focus is right now. So that will shift as the hyperbolic curve goes up. So you see it's shifted there, and then finally when it gets up here, it will move the focus back to this position. I think you're right, John. It is Astro Bloke. He's just got a new EQ8 mount, and I did catch. He said he was reviewing the Antlia LRGB V Pro set, which is the set I'm looking at. I've discovered if I do that, I can make myself look like I get a really good V curve by collapsing the sides in. And if you stretch it out, it's like, well, get more of a U curve. But I know that this is about the optimal focus that my current setup will get in terms of HFR. So it's down at about 2 point something, ultimately 2.41 on average. It's not a good sign, but it doesn't matter at the end of the focus. Shouldn't affect the numbers. So it's doing a final image to compare, is the picture substantially better than when we first started? It is, and now it's started the sequence. So, funnily enough, Ollie, I tried it the other night. I had my Edge HD 8 out, which is what I put on my AZEQ6. And I started to do the pec training, and then I was doing it the way that I'd seen in a video. And then I started to read something that said, oh, no, you need to do it this way. So I stopped it. And then I read someone else said, oh, no, actually, the new way is to do it this way. So I lost about 50 minutes of that first pass. And then by the time I'd got it back where I basically got about 20-30 minutes into it, and then the clouds rolled in. So I had to abandon it. But I am going to try it on my AZEQ6. My CGX, what I'm using right now, also supports PPEC as well. But I've never got around to doing it. In the lovely CPWI software, there is an option here to train PEC, and in here you could basically, it's as simple as the EQ mod option. Once you've trained it, you can either turn it on or turn it off in here. So I've just spotted something in there then. Those are showing 81, those should be 85. I haven't changed those. Interesting, because that's spooky. That's saying 85. I need to look at that. Those figures don't match. My mount's set to 81. I've got it set to 85 in PhD2. I'm sure that's what it picked it up at when I did the initial. Where it is, there it is, yeah, 0.85, but my mount says it's 0.81. Maybe that's why my guiding's not as good. My mount shouldn't be on 0.81, it's always been 0.85. So thank you for getting me to show you the PEC option, and potentially might be solving. I can't see that making that big a difference, but I'm open to anything. Thank you very much, Logan. I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate you taking time out to come and watch what is potentially quite a boring thing of someone taking a picture of the night sky. But thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. So this is the live stack with 7 images currently in there. I hope the guy who writes the easy processing suite gives us some more options in the live stack. It's one of those things you got to have a fine line between something that's quick and easy against, you don't want a whole host of processing options that's going to take a long time to stack. So, but there's a few more things I could think of it would benefit from having in there. I'm just going to make a note of that. Guiding rate difference. So have you watched the Joe's Astrophotography video where him and Astro Bloke go through a training session with it? So as I understand it, what you've got to do is there's an option to record the PEC, and then you can play it back. And then what you do is, whilst you're playing it back, you do a record PPEC, so that then records the PEC playback that you've captured, but that then records it into the quotes firmware motorboards, whatever you want to call them, of the mount. So then you don't have to use EQ mod to actually play back your PEC. It will be basically always on when you switch your mount on, unless you turn that option off in EQ mod. It did look fairly straightforward, but as I say, Cloud spoiled my attempt on my EQ6, AZ-EQ6. How close can I go to Meridian before I need to flip? I'm not set out the auto feature yet. With your AZE GTI, it really depends on what you've got on the on your dovetail as to how close it's going to be to your tripod legs. So there's no hard fast rule on how far you can go over. It's more when you get close to the Meridian, you just need to go out and see how far away the end of the dovetail, where it's going to be going down, further down as the mounts, as the counterweights are going up. So as it gets closer to that tripod or tripod leg, that's where you make the judgment call of how far past the Meridian you can go. I think I've got mine set, even though my CGX has something called hard stop limits. It's impossible for it to do that. It would actually mechanically be stopped before it could try it. I've got mine set to 5 minutes after the meridian. No worries. If you've got a pillar extension, then that probably is going to help a lot because it's going to be nowhere near the mount in terms of where the dovetail is going to be going down towards it. So you could probably go 5-10 minutes easily past without causing any issues. I'm trying to remember, is it the Avalon mounts that don't need to do a meridian flip? There's some really expensive mount. I can't remember if it's Avalon or one of the other ones where there's no concept of a meridian flip due to its the way it works. It's almost like a fork mount, but it's not. It's a equatorial. I might be talking garbage, but I have seen a mount that definitely doesn't need to do a meridian flip. Guiding's gone back up. This part of me wants to adjust that PhD 2 value to match what it is. Might do it whilst it's changing filter or autofocusing next. In fact, I'm going to do it after this image. There's literally only 100 seconds to go. Just going to see if it makes any difference whatsoever. So these auto guide rates are set to 81. My PhD is set to 85. These were definitely set to 85 at some point in the past. I just hope PhD 2 doesn't think it wants to. I don't think it will. What did I say that value was? 81. Wait. I'm going to do it whilst it does a meridian flip in the countdown. Change your mind. Oh, no, I'll do it now. I'll do it now. 81. Don't think that'll need to restart, but what I am going to do is clear that. This goes horribly wrong. Let that settle down. I've got a feeling it was that. It's already going in the right direction. I won't speak too soon though. So we should have another image in the stack. We now have 8 images. So we've got 1 hour and 20 minutes only on the HA channel. I'm still drawn to these dust clouds up here. I think these look great, and this, and of course, the head, which is, there's not much in the head. It's just a void of space with a small bit here, but I think in the Flame Nebula, not to be confused with the Flaming Star Nebula, I just called it the Flame Nebula. So yeah, I think HA, as long as I can get some other data on the other channels as well, not necessarily tonight, we should be looking good. Yeah, thanks, Ollie. It's looking nice. I'm quite pleased with the so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this comes out like. I've got a backlog of images to process. I want to reprocess my rosette. I've got Orion from the other night, and I'm going to try and get as much as I can on the Horsehead before it disappears for another year. Back up at 1. Hasn't made that much of a difference. I'm going to change it to .85, which is the default out the box. Not tonight. I'll do it offline. I just want to make sure those were the same. So after we've done the Meridian flip, this image will be the right way round, if there is such a thing, because there isn't a up or down in space, but I think aesthetically pleasing to the eye is more akin to this way, because obviously it looks more like the horse's head, where it's named after, than this way. So what are we? We are 14 minutes away from the flip, and we've got the Meridian coming up in 9 minutes. If anybody's got any questions they want to ask me, feel free. If anybody who's a beginner lurking, don't be afraid or shy to ask what you might think is a silly question. We all have to start somewhere. I'm certainly no expert, but I think I've got enough experience to potentially help out some beginners, and that's what I do enjoy doing. If you've seen some of my videos on my channel, I do try and, especially my introduction to ASCOM and learning astrophotography videos, they're aimed very much at people starting off, because it can be quite a daunting hobby. You can throw a lot of money in there and potentially be stuck by the technology or the terminology or the techniques that people use. So yeah, anybody wants to ask any questions? If anybody asks me a really hard question, I'll just say, no, I don't know the answer. Sorry. The humidity is quite high as well tonight, so even though it's cold, I think it's going to be a wet one. You can see this relative humidity going up. So this is my Pegasus Astro Pocket Powerbox Advance. What does it think the dew point's currently going to kick in? Where's the numbers? I can't see them. It's a bit odd where it's dropped and then doesn't come back up, but hey ho. Yeah, 2.5 degrees, and we're currently 3.8. Relative humidity 98, 91%. Quite high. So I'm always worried when I bring my equipment in, because I've no option of basically, well, I have got an option of leaving them outside, but I'm too scared to. Not because I think they will get stolen, they probably wouldn't, but it's more to do with, it'll be my luck that there'll be some unexpected shower. So bringing the equipment back into a warm house, it's not a red hot house, so what I try and do is put my scope in the kitchen, which is the coolest part of the house, and I just leave it there to acclimatise to normal before I move it back into what is my man cave where I'm sat now, which is definitely warmer than the kitchen. I wish I could just roll a observatory roof off or press a button to make the roof come over and just pack up and come in 2 minutes. But it's not to be at the moment. But I think the OTA, the scope tube, will be, especially on the dew shield, not on the inside but on the outside, will be quite moist. Tripod legs will probably be quite wet, and the mount head will probably be wet. And if it gets any colder, it is just look at the temperatures. Now it doesn't go below 1 or 2 degrees, so we shouldn't get any icing over on any of the equipment. I've got dew heaters on the optical elements, so I'm not worried about those. It's more the outside of stuff. So I am going to go literally away for 2 minutes when the Meridian flip occurs. You'll see a very bright light shining onto my equipment as it spins round, because even though my back garden looks quite light, it's not. It's pitch black. So I still like to see the Meridian flip happen just in case. I mentioned before I had SGP do a bad Meridian flip where my seat basically didn't hit my tripod legs, but my CGX has these hard stops, so it's impossible for it to go beyond a certain degree, and the motors were just basically slamming into those and bouncing off and that was SGP trying to do something. Could have been me setting it up wrong because I've done Meridian flips in SGP before, but I just want to watch it. So if it does go wrong, I can literally lunge and turn the power off to the mount very quickly. So we should get another stacked image. What was this one I was missing? Oh, that was my first. In fact, there's a good comparison. So this is the single Horsehead Nebula image I took the other night that I've added on to tonight. So you can see there's files in stack 1. So that's what we started off with. And that's what we've got too. If we blink test those, you can see hopefully. Don't know what YouTube's going to be doing to that data. But yeah, all this data's starting to come in. I've got a feeling it's going to, yeah, it's not going to start another image, I don't think. We're going to get a Meridian flip pause. Now to count down. So the moon should have started to rise about an hour and 10 minutes ago. I'm just going to have a look at where position it is in the sky. I can almost see on the outdoor camera a glare. Yeah, there he is. So I'm currently pointing here. And the moon is just over in the east here, so yeah, it's far enough away. And there's the Meridian flip down. So we have another image coming into the stack, image number 9. %, so this is the original image, 1 sub, and that's the stacked image. This is just in one channel HA, so we have, what, 1 hour and 30 minutes only at the moment. Been good. We've lost some viewers. It's the Meridian flip. We literally have to watch this for 6 minutes. And then the mount, hopefully you'll see on the outdoor cam, you'll see the mount automatically flip it over. I'll illuminate it with my head torch because guiding will be stopped. The camera's not taking any images. Me shining a light on it won't do anything to it other than allow you to see it. Did I finish Orion? Yeah, I did. I've not processed it yet though. So I was happy with the amount of subs that I took. I mentioned the other night, it's not my favourite target in the sky, and I know a lot of people love it, but I don't know. I wanted to get a good picture, so I'll certainly process the data I've got, and I've never really processed multi-exposure, different lengths before in PixInsight, so I'm having to do a bit of research on how that works out and how to do it. So normally all my exposures are the same length, which eliminates any of that complexity of combining multiple length exposures together. But yeah, I will be finishing it off, hopefully this weekend, if all goes well. I'm not going to take any more images of it. I'm just going to literally process what I've got. And I need to reprocess my Horsehead Nebula as well. Does everybody else let their rigs do automatic Meridian flips? In fact, let's ask a question. Who does Meridian flips, and who would feel comfortable letting it do one whilst they're asleep? I'll start off. I wouldn't. I want to watch it. I would rather set an alarm 5 minutes before and get up and watch it. Who else does automatic Meridian flips and is happy to just let it do it? My cable management's spot on. There's no chance of any cables getting snagged. That isn't the issue. It's just that SGP time that I saw. I'll never forget it. So I know it's a completely different piece of software potentially, but it can do a lot of damage if it goes wrong. We've lost another viewer to the Meridian flip. Maybe I need to put some eye candy on the screen instead. Although I won't know what time I've got for the Meridian flip. If I do that, I'll put it back. Three minutes. This is like watching paint dry now. At least we could look at images before. I think what I'm going to do is do the flip, do a couple more images, and then I'll end the stream. Wow, Holly, pretty much always done when I'm asleep. I'm normally in bed by midnight. I have accidentally fallen asleep once. It was clear all night, and I think I fell asleep about 1 o'clock, and the Meridian flip for what I was imaging was due at 2:15, and I woke up at 3 a.m. on my couch in my man cave. I went, oh God. I went outside and checked my image. It was all absolutely fine. So I have inadvertently let it do one without me having to watch it once by accident. You set your limits on EQ mode, yeah. So I notice there's the limits in there as well. So similar to my CGX, where it's not limits in software. It's actually got hard stops with inside the axis. But you can actually put limits in the software as well. So, in fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up missing it here. Let's see here. I think in here we have RA slew limits. It has an option in there to. Right, I'm going to put my head torch on. The Meridian flips caused everybody to leave. We had 14 people at the beginning. We're down to 6 now. Right, I will literally be a minute whilst I go check this flip. Success! What the scope's doing now is it's recentering the image I was taking, the target I was taking an image of, and I have my tolerance quite low. So it's getting it within 0.5 arc seconds of where it was originally. That way, when you stack the image, you don't end up with like a funny border on the outside where you've lost a bit of data. So it's done that, so it's finding a new guide star. I was clear my guiding after that. Settling down. And I always tell it to do an autofocus after a Meridian flip, even though we haven't changed filters. Oh, guiding, I don't want to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one more image and then I'm going to end the stream. Hopefully that'll settle down. What about this strange? Yeah, it's just me. So anybody who's just joined, I noticed the figures went down and come back up. This is the live stack of the Horsehead that we've taken so far. This was what we started with, so this is one 10-minute exposure. And this is 9 10-minute exposures stacked together on the HA channel. Good night, Paul. Thank you for joining. Do appreciate you taking time out to come and watch me take some pictures of the night sky. So do appreciate it, and take care. So this is what stacking an image does. So we've got one image and we've stacked 10 of them together, sorry, 9 of them together, and you can sort of see the data starts to come out. We start to get a lot better signal to noise ratio, and because I'm dithering as well, this will end up, when I stack it properly, it'll start to help me smooth out some of the background noise, take away any sort of fixed patterns that are in there. Yeah, night and day difference, and that's literally with 1 hour and 30 against 10 minutes. Anybody looking forward? Oh, we've got 4 people left now. Anybody looking forward to Galaxy season coming up? It's officially, there's no official date for it to start, but March, April time, we start to lose the nebulas in the sky. Well, certainly in the southern sky. And we start to get galaxies, which, unfortunately, I'm selling my Edge HD 8. So I'll be left with my ESPRIT until I decide what I'm going to replace my Edge HD with. And so, obviously, a lot of galaxies are challenging at 550mm. There's obviously Andromeda, but I've done Andromeda to death. There's a triangulum which fits in quite nicely at 550mm. But then you're getting into like the pinwheel, and they're fairly small in the field of view. M51 is a favourite of mine. So, but again, it's relatively small in the field of view at 550mm. So you'll notice, anybody who's watching from the start, my focus routine is almost identical every time. It literally is super in terms of focus has got next to no backlash. It's got no measurable backlash that I can find, and we're getting that my HFR isn't shifting that much either, which is surprising. We're going back in focus. I'm going to reload the last image in case someone joins and goes, well, that's a pretty poor image. The reason we've seen this is that that was the 15-second image it took after each focus point. $750mm, yeah, it's a couple of 100mm more than mine. So yeah, galaxy season can be challenging for some of the smaller galaxies. I'd love something like an ESPRIT 150 ED if you're watching Skywatcher. I'll send you the details. Which is a 1000mm refractor. I did manage to image M51 on my Edge HD 8. It was the first image I actually ever processed and took with it. But sadly, it's going this weekend. There's a guy coming over to pick it up and give me some dosh for it. So what I'm going to do is I'll let this final image come in, and I will let it stack it, and we'll add it to this one. So we'll have 10 10-minute exposures at the end of that. So 1 minute 40. And this next image as well should be obviously the inverted option of this option. Inverted geometry, so it'll be the right way round, if there is a right way round. I am going to continue imaging, but I will end the stream. Hopefully till... Well, let's just check that weather again. I have to redo the site because it remembers my time if you don't refresh it this way. So as mentioned, I'm somewhere about here. That's 10 o'clock. 11 still showing us clearish. Midnight still showing us clearish. 1 o'clock we've got some hazy, but probably okay. I reckon we could get a decent night in here for the other channels. You too, John and Dawn. I hope you are getting some good images as well. But again, thanks for joining and taking some time out to come and watch me do my favourite hobby. But I don't know if it was good luck, Ollie, but the first session I did with my Edge HD was the M51, and the images came out reasonably well. And every single session I've had since then, it's just been an absolute... I haven't got the right length. I haven't got an off-axis guider for it, and I haven't got the right ratio for tube to guiding ratio for my guide scope for it, which is probably half the battle. So I was struggling to get above 120-second exposures before I was seeing one image would be okay, then the next image would be egg-shaped and trailing, then the next image would be okay, then the next 2 images would be trailing. So I was really struggling with, I'll call it taming it. So I've just decided to sell it and I'm going to get a second refractor instead with the money. As to what refractor, I don't know. Because I've got a 2600 MC one-shot colour camera as well, which I'll stick on it. So I do fancy an ESPRIT 120, but I don't know if it's that. It's obviously 840mm focal length. But is it going to be that different? It's either that or go something like super wide field and get something like around 340mm as well, and go for a wider view. Not for galaxy season, obviously, it'd be useless for that, but yeah, I don't know yet. Luke's trying to convince me to get a f3.2 new Sharp Star Newtonian, which is quite a bit of chunky money, but that is up there with a fast scope and is a decent focal length as well. Good to know, John. Going okay so far. Excellent. Always good when it's going well. Yeah, guiding's calmed down. Some big corrections here in deck, but we're good. Let me adjust that screen gamma. A bit too much. Yeah, catch you later, Ollie. Thanks for the view and the attendance. It is appreciated. Oh, really bad cough at the moment. So yeah, thanks for dropping by and appreciate it. Well, the Rasa is basically it's the same optics, but with the front corrector plate removed. So you're not bouncing the light off the primary mirror to the secondary mirror, then down to the exit. So they're effectively the same optics, but obviously you lose all that focal length and you get like a 400, whatever it is, 480mm, very, very fast f2 scope. But you've still got a mirror at the end which you've got to focus. So I've seen some raster pictures that are absolutely mind-blowing for the amount of time they've put in to capture the image. And obviously with the shorter focal length overall, it should be a easier beast to tame in terms of guiding. But I've never owned a raster. I understand obviously what the differences are between that and the Edge HD, but I don't know. I come from a photography background, so I'm used to camera lenses, and effectively a telescope is the same concept of refracting light as a camera lens does. So a telescope is a big camera lens. I'm more at home with them. It's just a shame that to get a very, very fast refractor is horrendous amounts of money due to the optical elements that are needed to create that. As in the camera world, you look at sort of long focal length fast glass is incredibly expensive. Short focal length fast glass, not so much. Still can be for a decent quality one, but long focal length fast glass in the camera world, expensive, and likewise in the telescope world. So yeah, I'm in no rush to get a second one. Obviously, I'll have a second mount just sat there doing nothing, but I will take my time. It'll be a purchase that I'd hope that I'll be keeping for a good few years. So we are 70 seconds away-ish from image number 10. Oh god, yeah, absolutely. NXU, yeah, yeah. I mean, f2. I know people talk about speed, but you're literally. It's hard to comprehend and compare. So, for example, this 10-minute exposure I've been taking on the Horsehead with my f5.5 telescope with the Rasa, I'm going to take a guess. You could probably do the maths, but if I had a Rasa in the same setup in the back garden, I would probably acquire the same amount of data at f2 in 2-3 minutes easily. Each time you go down the f-stop, so from f5.5 down to f4.9, down to f4, down to f3.2, down to f2.8, down to f2, your light gathering and your photon capturing ability is so, I don't know what the word is, magnified. It's not don't magnify is the wrong word. It's so greatly improved. It's a different world when you're imaging down at f2 with such a big light bucket. So yeah, absolutely, you would spend so much less time gathering the same amount of data. So there is the 10th image. So that is coming into this stack now. So as I said, I'm going to just show you what that looks like when this is finished. And then I'm going to bid you all good night whilst I carry on imaging. So that looks like it's finished. So this was the original single 10-minute frame we started with. And then this is 10-minute exposures stacked together, which includes the original one. So you can see the amount of data and the structures that's been revealed. So yeah, hopefully I'll get a good image out of this. So thank you all very much for taking time out on a Friday night to watch me take some images of the night sky. I will do this again. I do enjoy doing it. I do enjoy talking to people. find it a bit more natural than my normal videos where I'm a bit wooden. But thank you all, and clear skies everybody. I will catch you again soon.